Hello everybody and welcome back to Eiersholt. We got the sprayer out even though we're only in mid-spring. We're not putting herbicide on right now. We're actually tanking up fertilizer. We got a bit of an issue. Well, I don't know if it's an issue per se. Could be a positive problem. Still a little pile of snow lying around here as well. But there's something else I'll tell you about in a minute. But I'm gonna run over to this field here because that's our fertilizer full now, 5,814 euros. We've gone down a bit of money, but if we have a look over here in the field, you can see that it's growing really well. It's actually gotten really tall for mid-spring, so it looks like it's gone through another growth step. And right here at the entrance is where I previously tried to take a tractor in because I was originally going to use some of our large amounts of slurry on this field, but we're going to be destroying a lot of grain if we're running an 8R with twin tires on it. So instead the 8R is going to go down and put the slurry on the field that we also put manure on, so it's going to get a kind of double dose. We are also going to get the green manure cultivated up on field 29. We still got a bit of time before we need to plant corn on it, but we might as well get it going. But since we got this difference, we're gonna have to put liquid fertilizer over on our new wheat field. So I'm gonna climb in here. There we go. And we're gonna get that one over started on our wheat field. We are going to get the slurry tanker. It's already down the field, so we're going to get that one started as well. And we're going to get this cultivating on field 29 started. And then another job is going on as well. Although ground temperatures are not fantastic still, I'm going to chance it and I'm going to start putting potatoes in up on our field 14, the smaller field next to the horse farm. So I've sent one tractor up to buy some potatoes. And we'll get to that in a second once we get all these other machines on the go, because it's going to be a busy day here on Eiersholt. We want to make sure our crops are in the best possible condition. So this is quite a large sprayer, so we just got to make sure we get the booms out and running. Now, one thing I have done, I even need to raise it a bit there, I think, because it's quite uneven terrain here when we look at it like this. I have installed the variable spray rate mod, so I'm not 100% sure, but if we open up the screen here, I've set it to about 300 liters per hectare right now. I don't know whether that's appropriate. Let's see how big this field is actually. It's 10 hectares. So that means we should go through about 3,000 liters of this field. But I'll get a course set up for this, and then we'll get the other guys on the go as well. That is our sprayer underway, and it looks like a reasonable rate. I had a couple of comments suggesting to use the variable spray rate, and that's close to that tree there. So I'm trying it out. I would like to try and get something reasonably realistic going on it, not just use it as a complete cheat, so that we don't use any fertilizer at all. But at the same time, with some implements, it can be really handy to get that done. Anyway, we got some other machines to get going as well here on Eiersholt today. It's quite a dense track for field 29 for a little cultivator, but we better get him started. So this is obviously putting down our green manure and giving us some free fertilizer on this field, which will help us keep costs down a bit. And last but not least, we also got our slurry going in on this field, so it's already had manure. Now it's going to get a dose of slurry as well. that should certainly help this thing keep going as well. And that is our slurry underway as well. Obviously, we put slurry on at a pretty high rate, so he's going to rip through this, and we are going to have to take it back. We don't have a transport system. I haven't got the manure mod installed just yet, so we will have to run this one back up to the farm at some point to refill. But it's working away for the time being, at least. Looks a bit bouncy here, but it's underway. So we already got 3 machines in the fields working away. So the next part we're working on is we are out here at the old Nordic Horse Photoshop. I have been picking up some potatoes. Now, for those of you who has played on Eiersholt, you'll probably know that we can't actually buy potatoes at the Photoshop. In fact, we can't buy potatoes anywhere on the map. So I did cheat them in, but I have paid for them. I actually paid 600 euros a ton. So the current rate here at the Photoshop for selling them was 561 euros. Just up into the cap here. And so I thought 600 seemed like a reasonable price. That means they're making a profit per ton. And we need potatoes because we are going to be seeding them today, as mentioned before. So I got to head over to field 14 from here. I bought a lot of potatoes, 42,000 litres. I don't think we necessarily need that many for the full field. But whatever we have left over now, we can basically use to generate some pig food. That means we can use the feed mixer down by the pig stables, and we can basically get some of the grain we got sitting around mixed in and generate some pig food, and that'll make it much easier to feed the pigs, generally speaking. So I hope you don't mind a sort of semi-cheat. At least we paid for it. And I've also bought a potato bucket for the telehandler, so we are going to be doing it properly. We're going to bring the trailers up, we're going to dump a bit either on the field or straight into the bucket, and then we're going to load up the potato seeder. So with pretty much all tractors on the go right now, we're just missing one T7. He currently had to go down to the dealership to do a job. So once we get the telehandler and this load of potatoes up to field 14, hopefully the T7 should be clear so it can come up and pick up the planter. We did opt for the smaller planter, but nonetheless you do need a bit of horsepower, and there's a bit of weight behind these, and frankly it's the only free tractor we got left. We're actually getting to the point now with so many fields that the 4 sort of main tractors we have and the Massey for the yard work is starting to get a little bit tight. And we do have quite a bit of money, but we are going to be spending it today, and we are going to be spending it on some new machinery. And we'll get to that in a second, because that's part of the reason why the T7 is down at the shop as well. So hang on for a second while I get this carted up to field 14 and get the telehandler up there as well. And of course, while we're on our way with the potatoes, we get a message here that we have run out of slurry, but actually that's not too bad. Still made it sort of almost 1.5 times around the headland. So we're going to get the 8R here to quickly run up and collect some more slurry. We've frankly got plenty of it. We need some of it using up. And part of the plan for today with our new acquisition will enable us to do that a little bit better, because right now we really only have this field down here that we're gonna now seed mill it on once we got the slurry on, and then we could put another layer up on field 29 here on the other side of the bridge, but to be honest I think we end up putting fertilizer in when we use the planter anyway. That tractor's getting on quite well. That's at least 2 rounds of headland cleared already by the looks of things. So it shouldn't take long before we got this one on the way back, and we'll have the potatoes up the field and everything else. So it's nice to see a little bit of green on the trees now. It's still sparse, it's still quite cold, generally speaking. I hope our crop looks like it's doing fantastically well. In fact, I was getting a little bit concerned, and I don't know, I hope it survives, because it's a long time until we get into the period where we can actually harvest this unless season is playing up for me. But we'll have to keep an eye on it in coming episodes, see what happens here in year 2 on Eiersholt. This is our field 14 right here next to the horse farm, coming in with a full load of potatoes. It shouldn't be too long before the telehandler is here. We just need to get this new bucket for potatoes loaded on it as well. That is our second load of slurry underway in the field. So it's time to bring the telehandler out so we can get a proper root crop shovel on it and get it up to the field. So we've got a brand new nice root crop shovel sitting here. I'm kind of hoping that I can manage to lift it out of the back of the truck here. The guys down at the shop were helpful in terms of getting it on, but without destroying anything. Yep, that looks good. It's quite a nice looking piece of machinery. Plenty of grills or spaces in between so that dirt and everything drops off the potatoes. So we're just going to get this one up to the field as well. And then our T7 should hopefully be on its way with a seeder soon as well. So as we're driving up, we can also see that our large field 15 with the canola on has also grown. So everything seems to have taken a growth step, both from late winter into spring and then again, which I'm a little bit surprised about because temperatures really were quite low. So I'm kind of hoping that we haven't glitched everything in terms of seasons, but we'll crack on and see how it goes. It might mean that it looks like it's ready to harvest for quite a long time before we can actually get into the field, but we'll see how it goes. So that's our telehandler arriving at the field as well. So we are basically ready to get the seeder loaded up now. I think I'm gonna see if we can load the shovel straight from sort of the back grain door on the rear trailer. Oh, it's a bit bouncy in here. We might have to tip them on the ground instead. I'm not 100% sure. But we'll find out when we get to that bit. For now, we'll park up very close underneath, because it should basically be possible to shoot them straight out from there. So finally, we are down at the store, and we get to see what this T7 is actually up to. It's brought the mowers down, which might seem a bit strange in some ways. These mowers are not that old, but with everything that we have changed on the farm, so that we now really don't need to bale for hay or anything anymore, we're going to move over to direct cutting of grass and minimize the amount of handling. So we are going to be selling this, get a little bit of money back hopefully. So we've got 37,000 for that, and then we're also going to be selling our front mower here. Now we are going to be making a very large investment in just a minute to basically replace what we are selling here with something very, very different. But this T7 now needs to get up and collect that potato harvester so we can get field 14 underway. So we've got one more piece to sell as the T7's heading up to the farm. This did have a clean and a quick repair up at our own workshop, so we can simply sell it straight up for almost 17,000 euros. So that brings us up to 590,000. But better go in and talk to them about our delivery. So our delivery should be here now, even though we have to walk through snow to get to it. Here it is, our new forage harvester with a direct cut header. So we are now going to be cutting our grass straight into a forage wagon, because we're either going to be taking it to a silage clamp, or we're going to be taking it to the drying plant to turn it into hay. So we can save quite a bit of work here by using this option. We still need a baler, obviously, for our straw bales, but this is going to be quite nice. Now the thing is, I'm not quite sure whether this thing is too wide to go on the road. As it is, better put some flashes on, because we're going to do a bit of maneuvering here. But actually, let's just have a look in here first. Nice. Wow. It's got cameras, multiple screens, and plenty of controls. So I'm going to try and get this header mounted on, and then see if this should be something we can take out on the road or not. So in some ways it's very early in the year to be buying this, but it was basically started with the problems we had down here on the grass field, where we couldn't put lime in because the grass had grown too early. So actually we're going to be cutting our grass early this year, basically so I can get some fertilizer down on it, and so that we can get a better yield later on. So I'm just gonna at least give it a little shot here. So I did get the longer pipe extension. That is mainly with an idea that in the future we will be doing something more here. So this is really just a very little test cut, so we can see that we are indeed cutting the grass. Now obviously right now we need to wait until we have a tractor free with that can bring down the forage wagon. In the ideal world we'll now have 2 forage wagons that can run by this, but for now I hope nobody steals it if we park it up here until the next episode. But I thought I would show you, because obviously that's a huge chunk of money that we have gone into here, but nonetheless I think it'll be worth it. We are going to be doing quite a bit of grass, generally speaking now. We've got quite a few grass fields. We have a biogas plant as well. So I hope you like the investment. We're going to be seeing a bit more of it in the coming episodes. But we better get back up and start paying some attention to those potatoes. So I've just got the front weight onto the T7 here before we're going to reverse it over into the shed to pick up the potato planter. It isn't a massive potato planter for this tractor, but nonetheless it does get quite heavy, so I thought it would be better to have a front weight on there as well. Getting quite a few planting and seeding implements here. So yeah, it's not a huge machine here, but it'll do the job. So as we're heading up with the potato plant here, we got a few grass fields. Some of them are ready. Some of them, the newly bought ones, are probably more in need of getting cut and fertilized. Field 30 back there closer to the farm, I don't mind leaving to grow a bit more until late autumn or even early summer, and take a decent cut at that point and see if we can get a second cut in autumn as well. But given that it's grown in the other fields, we couldn't get lime down on them, we can't really fertilize them either then. I think it's better to take that cut now. We'll probably turn into silage mostly, I reckon. The great thing is we can do one load silage, one load hay if we want to, but I think it would be nice to try and get one of the silage clamps reasonably filled up again. And we got quite a bit of hay. I was very torn because I'm recording this sort of just a couple of days before the straw DLC comes out, and I was tempted to invest all of that money that we had into this new straw pellet machine, because it would be neat. We have a lot of straw and we have a lot of hay already sitting in storage, and I think that will be one of the next things that we go for in terms of machinery maybe, although I'm also thinking that we are starting to need another tractor. Today, with work going on in multiple fields, every single tractor apart from the Massey right now is completely tied up with work. But we are here, so we better get this seeder filled up. So we are unloading the potatoes straight into the shovel. That seems to be working fine. Just running, lifting it a little bit, and then we can get the telehandler to tip them in. I know we can use seed pallets instead, but this somehow just seemed better, and because we can use the leftovers for pick. Whoa, that's very bouncy here on the field. It's a ploughed up field after all, but let's see how we get on here. We should be able to. Oh no, I am a little bit close. Better boom out and go back a bit, like so. And then we'll see. I'm not sure exactly. Okay, one shovelful is all that fits in to begin with, but I have a feeling that it will be running out quite a few times over the field here. So we'll just get the telehandler on the ready at the back here again, and then we'll get the seeder going. So our first potatoes on Eiersholt is going in the ground, and even though this is the small potato planter, it frankly seems like the T7 is working pretty hard here, so I think it's probably a good thing that we didn't go for anything bigger than this. And our slurry tanker is heading back to the farm for its third load, just as we're getting the potato harvesting underway, so it's all go on the farm today. third load going out, so that's about 75,000 litres we got onto that field now. I do have it set to about 10 cubic meters per hectare, so obviously it's going to chew through quite a bit, but once our grass fields are cut, we should be able to get some slurry down on them as well. Obviously one of them we really want to get some lime onto, which was what we were having some problems with in the last episode. So I did notice that the T7 that's working up in field 29, which has probably got the job that's going to take the longest, is actually down to about a quarter of a tank of fuel. Now we're not going to try taking this out into the field. Last time we tried something like that, it got pretty dicey, but we're going to take the Thunder Creek up. We've still got 1800 litres in it. At least if we got it sitting ready on the side of the field, it's not quite as long a run, and we don't have as long an interruption in work. Yeah, it's quite muddy even here on the edge of the field. We're sitting pretty dug in already, so we're not going to brave it out into it, but we'll sit here. At least it's ready for when it's needed. So we're starting to feel surplus to requirement, and I took over for the last little bit here of the spraying of our wheat field, simply because otherwise I wouldn't have anything to do except sit and watch tractors moving around. And while I obviously do that for some recording bits, it's also nice to actually be able to do a bit of the field work yourself. After all, that's presumably why we play Farming Simulator. One thing, I don't know if you noticed, a couple of episodes ago I moved the mod list out of the video description, and it's now on a Google spreadsheet that you can all access if you're interested. I don't think I use any outrageously rare mods. Virtually everything I use you would be able to find more or less on the Mod Hub, with a couple of exceptions that came from the Yes Mods website really. But it's there if you want to take a look, but also if you have any questions about any of the mods, please just drop a comment. And that is our field done. So we can now get folded up, and the sprayer is basically going to get straight over on the canola, the bright yellow canola field we can see over there in the horizon, and we'll get cracking on that one. Then we'll have to probably check in on our potato planter, because I suspect that will start to be running low. So potatoes are actually reaching quite a decent amount. Got quite a few strips already put in, and we've used about 3/4 of a planter's worth. So I think I probably bought way too many potatoes here, but that's no harm. We'll be able to get some pig food mixed, and I'll be interested to see how much yield we actually get out of this. Obviously we don't own a potato harvester, and I don't really see us buying one of the smaller ones. I think we will be leasing the larger one when we get to that stage. We'll see how it goes. That is the sprayer full of fertilizer again, so we'll just get it over to field 15 and get started on spraying that canola. That's going to be quite a big job as well. And that is our sprayer started once again in the canola field this time. We're going to get a lot of canola this year, but we're not growing sunflowers. So last year we pulled sunflowers off this one, and that's been a substantial part of what we've been feeding the pigs with. So yeah, we are going to be needing a bit more canola, especially as we are going to be swapping pigs out and trying to scale them up sometime pretty soon. So our potato plant eventually ran out here. I don't know how far we can say it's made it through the field. It's going to get quite a load required even to do this relatively modest size field. I'm just going to take it very easy. I really shouldn't be driving where we already planted the potatoes to the extent possible, but we'll get it loaded up again and then we'll see how we get on. So with another pile of potatoes going into the planter here, and a lot of work in general going on, you've kind of got a flavor for spring action here on the second year of Eiersholt. Like I said, we have a little bit of funny behavior with the size of the grain or the growth of the grain. I didn't think it was going to be quite as advanced, but we got the spray out. That seems to be doing its job. And we got a couple of fields left to seed. This one, obviously with potatoes. And then we got the millet field once we finish putting the slurry on. And then in the next episode, we are gonna take our shiny new Jaguar out, and we are gonna be running some grass and silage operation basically. But while we are stopping the driver because we don't want him to start the course at the first waypoint here. I think that would mess things up. We will set him at the nearest waypoint, and that should get our friend back on track, putting potatoes into field 14 just as we try to finish off the episode here. But such is farming life. Yeah, so there's lots going on here in spring, and in the next episode we will have been through a few fields. There'll be quite a lot of fertilizing work still to do. We'll have the grass work to do. But for now, thank you very much from Overguard Gaming, and see you again soon.